Electric bikes. I use mine for about 4,000 kilometers every year. Now, what do you call this? Because I'm not sure. This is the ENGWE X26. It has a 1200 watt motor in the rear, 2 batteries, one in the post and one in the frame. I tested the range and I was able to go 121 kilometers. From what I know, this is the most updated version of this bike. I've been watching basically every single review on YouTube. Even though there aren't that many, you can find reviews of the X26, this exact same bike from almost a year ago. And this, like I said, is the most updated version. They have done some major changes. So even though you find a review just 1 month ago posted from someone else, you should know that this bike is significantly different. And I'll tell you why right now. You see, there are 2 batteries, one in the frame, one in the sit post. The entire extended length of this post is a battery. Now this battery is 19.2 amp hours, 48 volts, and this one is 10.4 amp hours. So it's a smaller battery and a bigger battery. Now what they have done, according to some older reviews, they didn't even have a charging port for this battery. So you have to crack it open, take the battery out, and charge it separately. There weren't a port to charge the battery. Now I can tell you right away, it's a charging port for this battery and there is a charging port for this battery as well. The great thing about this that I didn't even think about before I got the bike is that if you do have 2 chargers, I'll show you the stats on the charger. I think it says 54.6 volts, 3 amps. So it's about 150 watts of charging. You can plug one charger into this battery and one charger into this battery. And so you get about more than 300 watts of charging, but you do need to purchase a separate charger because you only get one in this package. Well, that's actually not the major update they've done. The big update is that now the smaller battery talks with the larger battery. So by clicking the button under the seat, you can now turn on the bike, you can ride away, and it discharges both batteries simultaneously. But that wasn't the case before. You had to discharge one battery at a time. So if you discharge the main battery first, you had to disconnect the connector and plug it into the side of the frame in order to discharge the second battery. So you had to move this massive cable and connector to the side. You don't have to do that anymore. They've changed it completely and that's great. The only thing with this bike that's a pain in the ass is if you only have one charger, you can plug it into the main battery, but you have to move the charger and plug it into the side of the frame in order to charge this battery. So they haven't connected the charging ports. They charge independently, but at the same time, it's awesome that you get the potential to buy a second charger so you can have twice the charging speed. Okay, here's what it looked like when I received the package. You definitely need to be 2 people carrying the box because it's super heavy. But this is what it looked like. It had protective foam and about 500 zip ties to remove. The only things that I really had to do was attach the front wheel, adjust the handlebar to the correct angle. You do get this secondary rear seat that I'm totally gonna remove and replace with a massive box so that I can transport stuff. I finished off with the brackets for the seat and that was about it. And here's the very first test that I did. There are some complaints from reviewers that I would totally agree with, and here's the main 2. There are 4 types of suspension on this bike. It's the fat tires, you have front shocks, a middle shock, and rear spring shocks. They are too stiff. The front is totally fine. It's also adjustable by these knobs. The only thing in the rear and the middle is that the middle shock absorber would be enough. These are mainly for looks, but the side effect of the rear spring shocks is that if you ride alone, it's actually quite stiff. If you do have a passenger, it's fine, but if you ride alone, which you do 99% of the time, it's a bit stiff. The brakes, that's the second complaint from many reviewers. They should be a bit larger for this size and heavy of a bike. I haven't found it to be much of an issue. I think it works great as it is, but many reviewers pointed it out, and yeah, I guess they could be a bit larger. The handlebar have an 8-gear drive, and they finally made the main sprocket larger, meaning there are more teeth, and so if you're going 45 kilometers an hour on 8th gear, it's actually comfortable. You don't have to spin super fast. It's actually suited for higher speeds, so that's great. I gotta show you the OLED screen. So here's the OLED screen. It looks fantastic, but I'm even more impressed by the battery monitor. Basically, it frequently tries to update the way you use the bike. And so on a normal bike, if you go full throttle, you could see the battery percentage drop instantly. This one doesn't do this. It tries to regulate the percentage so it will be as exact as possible. And I could totally see this. It works so well. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if your battery says it has 50% battery left, you have half your battery left. That's not normal for these kind of bikes. Someone please relate with this. Something everyone with this bike agrees on is that it's very heavy. You can still fold it, but it's a little awkward. Well, I have this wire cable, that's usually not the case. But like, the thing is that I'm not sure I could, if I had to lift this up on a car, I'm not sure I could. It's a 1200 watt motor, but thanks to the display that shows the wattage, you can see that it goes up to 1400 watts all the time. It's significantly more powerful than any other e-bike I've ever tested. You can tell by the top speed, you can reach 55 kilometers an hour if it's asphalt. And you can tell by going uphill that it doesn't stop. It just continues to even accelerate at times. Obviously, this depends on the speed you had before going uphill. Is it Tesla Model Superpower X? No, it's an electric bike, but it's... So I did 121 kilometers to prove the range of this bike. I think I'm the only one who've done it, and here's a quick recap of it. Kilometer 1, raining. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're at 235, 10 kilometers, baby. 20 kilometers. We're at 258, which means we've done exactly 33 kilometers. I'm getting hungry. We just hit 275 kilometers. We're 50 kilometers in, and we're at 75% battery. That's insane. All right, 60, 70. We got 80. We just hit 90. 116 kilometers, and we have 2% left. 121 kilometers. That's the range. How the fuck am I supposed to get home? It's an insane bike. I think we can all agree on that. It's $1,900 considering the amount of battery, the power, the size, and the heftiness. Maybe it's reasonable. All right, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. See you again soon. Bye.